Oh, Antoine, Maxime. Hi, nice to see you. It's been a long time. Right. Today, you know what we're here about? Talking about Aston Martin F1 in China. So, us as Aston Martin, it's very important that you guys understand why we want to come to China. So, we put together a little presentation that you have here in front of you. So, should we get started? Let's go. All right. Firstly, bit of content, what we're going to go over today. So first, I'll have a little chat about presentation and a bit about the business model of Aston Martin and more specifically the Formula One side. Then I'll hand it over to our social media expert, Antoine, so he can really present to you the current strategies and how we can change those and implement those in China. Our China expert, Maxime, will have a little go over the China benchmark and competitors, what they're doing, how they're implementing in China. And then we'll see a repositioning strategy. Why is it interesting? Why should Aston Martin follow these companies that are going to China and really dig deep in this market? Finally, a few recommendations on how we think we should do this. And we'll finish with a little conclusion. And if any of the stakeholders have questions, please feel free. So firstly, a bit of an intro to Aston Martin F1. Aston Martin is relatively new to Formula One, but it's not new at all to racing. Formerly, the Aston Martin team was called Racing Point when it was then bought by owner Lawrence Stroll, which is a Canadian businessman. As I said, they have a rich history in motor car and motorsport racing, as they've been racing since the 20s. I think about 1923 is their official date. They've returned to racing after 60 years, not having any cars in any competitions, and they've come back with quite a bang. So the F1 team is based in Silverstone in the UK. They've had a good performance this year so far, 2022, 2023, that is. For those of you that follow, Alonso is doing quite well. He's getting a few podiums, so, quite exciting to see. And with what comes with success in Formula One comes a bit of media attention and the fan base. So yeah, as we know, they've got a growing media attention, a growing fan base. And a lot of people are really excited about this team's future. So why is it relevant to the Chinese market? What is the main reason for Aston Martin to come to China? Firstly, there's major rewards to be reaped. The Chinese market is one of the largest and fastest growing in the luxury sports car market, especially in the electric, but a bit more on that later. The F1 is symbol of quality, performance, and really engineering. It's really important for Aston Martin. What more can, how much more can they get out of it? But they can also gain more credibility in China and more reputation, which is really important, especially in this new market. And with all these new fans that Formula One is gaining, we really think there is something to be done there. And finally, F1 and sports, as I just said, are growing in popularity, especially in China since the Olympic Games in 2020 and all the previous ones we had in Beijing. Since 2020, the games were 2022, but since 2020, F1 has gone up 43% in popularity in China. And I think that's a really important number. Secondly, partnerships. Why is it relevant for Aston Martin? They've shown a willingness so far to grow in China. That was through, firstly, their best water technology sponsor, which they've now dropped, but they still remain sponsored by TikTok. Needs no introduction. Furthermore, they also have another sponsorship with Veloce Esports, who is a Chinese esports company. They do promotion, but they also work a bit on equipment manufacturing. And together they've launched the Aston Martin Esports Academy, which aims to get new talent out of China. And yeah, as I just mentioned, TikTok, who needs no introduction, obviously helps with insight and exposure, especially towards the younger generations, which really are the people that we're talking about here when we're talking about F1. So yeah, a bit more about the business model, really. What's the core ideas? Aston Martin is committed to excellence in every step. That means engineering, manufacturing, delivery, and customer service. They are committed to the environment. So we've seen a lot of electrical vehicle development, especially for German and other car manufacturers. But Aston Martin is no different to this. So yeah, they've also made quite a point in all their business reviews and in all their annual reports about being net zero, trying to be really a green brand, no pun intended. They also have recently expressed their importance in their new strategy of focusing on the customer journey and the customer experience, really getting back down to the basics of what it means to own an Aston Martin and to order one. It means premium quality, premium service, and excellence, as we said, in every step. They also want to do a better job at balancing supply and demand. In the past, they've had very high demand, and their supply has kind of struggled to follow, especially in manufacturing, which has led to some diminutions in quality of customer service and also some of the cars, but not so much. Yeah, so along those lines, again, product development efficiency, through their digital and cross collaboration, they really hope to attain a new level of efficiency and of optimization. Their new CEO is driving changes. As we said, new strategy, new everything, bringing in Lawrence Stroll as a major contributor financially. And optimize operations and supply chain efficiency. As we said, Aston Martin is really trying to crack down on inefficiencies, redundancies, and at their last report, they were up 30% on annual savings thanks to this new optimization system. So what use would F1 be to Aston Martin? Dark answers here, nothing hidden. We all know F1 increases brand desirability. There's over 85 million viewers a race nowadays, and Aston Martin themselves have observed a 25% increase in web traffic, which jumps to 29% on race weekends. So this is on race weekends, but it jumps to 29% when the Aston Martin safety car and medical car are in action that weekend. So Aston Martin really want to leverage F1 to increase demand and also control their prices that way. If you have high demand, limited supply, the only way for your prices to go is up, right? And yeah, as we said, the F1 is synonymous with elite performance, supreme engineering, really excellence and quality in every step, like we said for Aston Martin. They also join a race. Aston also joined F1 in their race to sustainability. So this green image again that we were mentioning. We know F1's got new engines, new tires, trying to do the most they can to cut their impact on the environment, and that's the same for car manufacturers, notably for electric vehicles. Their F1 team has also allowed them to access some very strong sponsors. You can see obviously quite a few on the car, and the main ones we've talked about, notably TikTok. Also, can you still see me? Sorry. Also part of these major sponsors have been Red Bull Advanced Technologies, which for those of you who are fans of motorsports and cars will know maybe a little bit about the Valkyrie, which is the fastest road legal car available on the market. So really that symbol of performance and innovation. And they've got many other sponsors as well, which we'll go over later. So finally, for me, for this first part, partnerships and value creation. The important part for Aston Martin, how do we create value through these partnerships? So as we said, through F1, Aston Martin works with a lot of sponsors. These sponsors for Aston Martin are a source of technical expertise, brand strengthening, and also obviously a sense of future growth, as this is what they really want to crack down on. They want to drive exclusivity and performance to control their prices, mentioned above, supply and demand. And then they want also, for their more road car side, they want to focus on SUV and performance in mid-engine cars, and that will also notably come with electric vehicles. They also hope to increase efficiency with less contractors and full-time employees, reduce redundancies, what we said. And they want to create synergies in engineering through their modular model. And so overall, they've managed already to have a 30% increase in supply chain efficiency, which they can only go up from now. And we think China can be the clue to have more efficiencies in their system. Over to you, Antoine.
So hello, my turn. Thank you, Will, for this little introduction. So let's discuss now about the current social media strategy. Be careful with the slide. Sorry, guys. So about the current social strategy, we will try to analyze all that Aston Martin F1 team is doing on the biggest platform that we know, like TikTok, Instagram, or Twitter, Facebook, as you know. So you can go on the next slide. So to begin with, let's talk about TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Aston Martin is a quite famous team in the paddock and also on the internet. They are in the first half of the teams that are the most followed. So they have 1.4 million followers on TikTok, 3.4 followers on Instagram. Just to take an example, for example, with Alpine, it's more than Alpine, and it's more than Alfa Romeo. All the teams that could race against them during the track are distance on the social network. We can see on all these posts a real coherence on the SRM feed in terms of quality and also very work, as you can see in the back of the screen on the right. Very nice photo. To reinforce their presence on the social media, a partnership was created between Aston and TikTok, as we mentioned earlier. So this is the only team on the paddock to have this partnership. So it shows really the attraction of Aston Martin and the how can I say that, the will to really be present on social network. And also, if you have a check to Twitter, we can see that they are very active on it, and they use the code of Twitter with some thread, for example. So now let's focus more about YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So you can see that on YouTube, it's only 2.5K followers on YouTube, 1.2 million followers on Facebook, more than 300 on LinkedIn. So YouTube and LinkedIn seems to be much more a niche social network with very technical content that not everyone is going to see and to search for. It's very more technical. About Facebook, it seems to be a mirror network of others and does not have its own specificities, that you can find maybe on TikTok or on YouTube. You can go on the next slide. So we decided to do two different groups when we analyze their strategy on social media. So the group one with TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter is very creative and attend to a large audience. The feeds are well worked, the colors are beautiful, the codes are all respected on each of these platforms. As I was saying, a thread on Twitter, a famous song and trends on TikTok, perfect pictures on Instagram, and each of its networks has its own added value for the Aston Martin Formula One brand. On the group two with YouTube and LinkedIn, we can see that it's more technical and more precise audience. We feel in the post that the goal is not to reach the largest possible audience, but to display a technical side. For example, we have some insiders on YouTube, interviews of different salaries on LinkedIn, not the kind of post that you're going to find on Instagram, for example. So the objective here is to reach a more professional and informed public in order to reinforce their credibility. If we have a general look on the tone of voice, we can see that it's clearly adapted to the platform. And to finish with this, as you can see, where is Facebook? So we chose to put Facebook a bit aside because there are no posts that are specific to the Facebook platform, despite the numbers of followers, more than 2 million. So this may explain the lack of reaction to their Facebook posts. If you compare the numbers of likes on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram is killing Facebook by far. It seems to be a platform that combines the identities of all its other platforms and therefore has no authenticity. It looks like they have just give up on Facebook, but honestly, we can understand them because Facebook is not now the biggest social network. I will let my friend follow.
So now I'm going to talk about the actual Formula One market in China. So first, the market size. China is an important market for Formula One. Formula One races are broadcast on TV channel in China and are watched by a million of viewers. In addition, Formula One also attracts many fans when it travels to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix. For the partnership, Formula One has established a partnership with a Chinese company such as China Mobile to strengthen its presence in the country and attract more fans. For the broadcasting, they are broadcast on the state-owned CCTV as well as on an online streaming platform like Tencent Video. Formula One is popular in China since the first Formula One race was held in China in Shanghai in 2004. Interest in the sport has steadily increased in the country. And finally, for the event, the annual Formula One race in Shanghai, there is also Formula One other events in China, such as exhibition and promotional events to stimulate interest in the sport in the country. So next slide. Okay, so now the benchmark. We have decided to divide the benchmark in two parts. So first, the competitor of Formula One in general, and secondly, the competitor of Aston Martin with other Formula One team. So for the major competitor, we have NBA, which has successfully expanded into China through strategic partnership, events, and youth player development program, as well as NBA star who have become icon in the country. So the business became more than serious in the early 2000s. The NBA found an ambassador with the recruitment in 2002 by one of its franchises, the Houston Rockets, of the giant Yao Ming. So the native of Shanghai, 2.27 meters under the 8, will be for 9 years the perfect start to catch the interest of the Chinese fan. So the NBA exports some of its preseason game to China in 2004, nearly 30 since then. So secure broadcast of this competition on a multi-channel in the country and sign a huge contract with digital operator and major Chinese social network. So the result is 640 million Chinese watch American Championships program in 2018. And okay, and so now I'm going to talk about eSport, which represents a great opportunity for Aston Martin to stand out, but it's also a direct competitor. In 10 years, China has become a major player in esports, above all in economic terms, but also in terms of performance. Out of its 1.4 billion inhabitants, China will count between 500 and 600 million players. Ampere Analysis, a company specializing in market research, estimate that 26% of the Chinese internet user watch esports. So compared to an average of 5 to 9% in Europe and North American countries. So for the football, soccer has become the most popular sport in terms of television audience in China as elsewhere in the world. For several years, China has put soccer as the heart of its geopolitical strategy, with the construction of stadium, colossal investment in the purchase of foreign players, the creation of academy to train and detect future talents, China is not skipping out on resources. Its objective in the next 3 decades is to organize the World Soccer Championship and become a world champion. So now for the competitor of Aston Martin, we have first Mercedes and Red Bull, because of the team performance. These are 2 very successful teams in Formula One. Mercedes has won 7 constructor and driver world championship, and Red Bull is the reigning world champion team and has won 4 constructor and 4 driver championship in the past 10 years. This achievement naturally attract the attention of Chinese fans. So for the team driver, the Mercedes team drivers such as Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen for Red Bull is very popular in China because of their talent and personality. And we have also Alfa Romeo because of the Chinese driver. So with the arrival of Valtteri Bottas and then the young Guanyu and Zhou, the team wants to relaunch itself and allow Formula One to get closer to the Chinese market. Zhou is the first Chinese to participate in the Formula One World Championship, and he will certainly become the ambassador of motorsport in China and bring new opportunity to Formula One and especially to Alfa Romeo.
Okay, no, thanks guys. That's very insightful. Yeah. So now, we really want to understand why Aston Martin should consider repositioning strategy in the Chinese market. As you can see here on your right, bit of an AIDA model, one of our class favorites. So firstly, attention. We want to use F1 to bring awareness to the Aston Martin brand. Nothing new here. Grow interest into motorsport and performance. Once they get to the interest stage, so here customers have an awareness of what Aston Martin is, what our products do, what our products are, but they're unsure whether or not they meet their needs. That's another strategic point we could work on. Desire. We want to establish credibility through F1 and engineering as a car brand. And we want to develop a preference here in the customers for Aston and really convince them that they want Aston. And finally, in the action stage, we want an infrastructure for sales to ensure our customers have the best journey. And that is a strategic fit with Aston Martin because they really want to focus, as we said earlier, on their customer journey and their customer experience. So Antoine, over to you for a bit of recommendations.
It's okay for your mic? Perfect. So yeah, time flies. So I'm not going to spend too much time, but to present to you this part, we have 3 different parts: partner activation, physical events, and continue the push for environment. So let's begin with partner activation. So we know that Veloz and TikTok are already partners with Aston Martin, and these are very popular in the Asian market. It's important for Aston not only to have this partner, but they must do everything to make the most relevant activation possible to reach the Chinese market. So to begin with Veloz, it's the leading racing, gaming, lifestyle, and media platform, very known in China. We know how popular esport is also in China, and Veloz is a proud representative of this industry in this market. It's up to Aston to use it well. And if we go to TikTok, also known as Douyin for the Chinese, it's the star of the application, dominate the world, an absolute chance for Aston Martin to be recognized. As the only team sponsored by TikTok, it must do more than just put the logo on its slave wheel, as you saw maybe sooner on the photo. Sorry. So why not think about an exclusive content posted by TikTok and not Aston Martin on their own TikTok page? So to follow, let's talk about physical events. Presential events create a unique relationship between the brand and its fan. Also very effective to target a specific geographical area as China, as we are discussing right now. So we were thinking about the pre-season tour by, for example, using the experience of PSG before every season in League One. They are doing a tour of China and it's getting very popular. So before the pre-season test, it would be very interesting to prepare a schedule for the Formula One team in China, only Aston Martin, of course, to reinforce the image, to allow people to see the drivers and the cars in real and make its marks on the Chinese soil. And we also think about 100% Aston race day, using the example of Toyota and Honda that is very popular. So this is the same idea as these brands, but not by focusing on Formula One, but more on the credibility of the brand in general in motorsport. The idea is once again to strengthen the image of the brand with the Chinese public by installing an annual program. And to finish with this, let's continue with the push for the environment. So as mentioned before by Will, Aston Martin Formula One is really involved in ecology, and the Chinese market is also very receptive. So we thought about a strong partner with, by the name of Bid Company Limited. Just in a few words, this Chinese multinational company is specialized in the manufacturing of automobiles, rechargeable batteries, and other electronic products. This is one of the largest electric vehicle manufacturers in the world. The company headquarters are in Shenzhen in China, and BID has a strong focus on innovation and has invested heavily in developing new technologies, such as its proprietary iron phosphate battery technology, which is known for the high safety standards and long cycle life, good for a greener future. So as you know, and as we know, Formula One is always looking for technology, and Aston Martin is particularly interested in a greener future. Therefore, it's natural that this partnership between these two entities seems to take on its full meaning. Creating a massive partnership will only have positive repercussions for both parties, and especially for the insertion on the Chinese market for Aston Martin Formula One team. That's all for me.
So now for the niche app partner, we are thinking about Weibo, which is a popular Chinese social network like Twitter, launched in 2009. User can post message, photo, video, and other multimedia content, as well as follow other user and interact with their posts via comment and mention. So Formula One teams often use the platform to communicate with Chinese fans. Many Formula One teams, driver, but also fans and sport influencers have accounts where they post updates, photo and video related to the world of Formula One. So the official Formula One page on Weibo has millions of subscribers and is regularly updated with information about races, team and driver. So Chinese Formula One fan can therefore follow their favorite team and driver to stay informed about the latest news and results of the competition. So searching on the platform, we found, thanks to the commentator of Formula One in China, Lui Yao, sorry for the pronunciation, very active, and an application specialized in Formula One called Race Call, mainly propose a race calendar and a reminder to not miss any race. It is possible to create alert widget on your desktop and get alert and notification, as well as a selection of race photo and the possibility to choose the color of your favorite Formula One team. So the application is still in development, but it presents a real opportunity for Aston Martin, who could partner with it to rearrange it to the color of its team Formula One, and thus reach a larger number of Chinese fans.
Okay, well, I mean, thanks, guys. That was amazing. Obviously, for all of those following at home, a lot of information. So don't get worried if you got a bit lost. We're still here for some questions. And if you have anything else, you know, you've got our contacts, so don't hesitate. Thanks, guys.